Sam has Angelman Syndrome, which is a really rare genetic condition. He was diagnosed with it when he was 21 months old. He hadn't been walking or talking or rolling over or crawling. So I'd investigated him for his hearing to see if that was why he wasn't talking. And then we finally saw a developmental pediatrician, and he took one look at him and just said, he has Angelman syndrome. And I said, what is that? Nobody's ever heard of it. I didn't know what it was. He knew what it was, luckily, because he'd seen 3 patients with it in the UK. So once you have seen a child with AS, you can recognize it sort of from the smile and from how happy they are, and they flap their arms when they're excited and so on. So that is when we first found out about Angelman syndrome. They are missing one gene, okay? Only one gene that isn't working. Right. Everything else for him is working. Every single thing else that we know of is working, but this one isn't. It's called UBE3A, and it expresses protein and so on in the brain. So it is a neurological condition. If he doesn't have this gene in other cells of his body, it's not a problem. So if it's not in his heart or his skin, it's fine. It's not a problem. It doesn't cause other, medical issues, but it affects his brain. So it affects his brain in terms of the cognitive ability, the developmental delays. Obviously, his ability to speak is not there. Right. He is able to make lots of noises. The happy noise you heard, very, very nice. If he's doing something and he's really happy, you just get a he's very happy. Yeah. And if he's not happy about something, he will scream and he will tell you very clearly. So he's missing that one gene. And the reason is that it exists on the maternal and paternal copy, okay. But on the maternal copy for about 80% of people with AS, it's been deleted. So that gene has gone, okay. Along with some other genetic material. Okay. He has 2 paternal copies, okay. No maternal. Okay. And on the paternal copy, the body switches the gene off. So the body says, we don't need 2 copies of this gene to be working. They turn it off. But he doesn't have a maternal copy. He has 2 paternal, so he has 2 copies of what he needs, but they're not active. It's always a journey. It's a learning curve. You don't know what he's going to be able to do next, so you can't always plan and predict what he's going to do. So you often end up kind of just winging it, and you say, oh, look, he can do this now. Oh, great, we've learned a new skill. Okay, what can we do next? So, from being able to even drink from a bottle, that was a big deal. Then you move to being able to drink from a straw. All those kind of developmental things that babies do, but he does much later, and it takes him a lot longer to do. And you also don't know if he's going to do it. You always have a kind of a celebration of even a little milestone. Oh my goodness, he's drunk through a straw today. He's held his bowl with 2 hands today. He hasn't thrown the food. He can sit and he can feed himself. So there's all these little steps that he does, and that you realize he can do them, and then you go, oh, excellent. So what can he do now? What can we try and practice next? When we first saw the doctor, we didn't know if he was going to walk, right? Now, obviously, he walks and he runs and he jumps and he climbs everywhere. But at the time, you don't know that. So you just have to be very flexible, very open-minded, and always think, he's going to do something. What it's going to be next, we don't know, but he's going to achieve something. We're very fortunate in the sense that he doesn't need extra medication for AS. What they're looking into and they're trying to work a lot on is gene therapy. So it's about trying to make that gene, switched on. How they do that, and the fact that he has 2 copies of it, what would happen if he does ever get it switched on, he would maybe have too much, right, being expressed because he's still got 2 copies. So it's a very big unknown, but they are doing a lot of research. They've done clinical trials. They are trying to move forwards in terms of either replacing that gene or in terms of switching on the one that the patients, the individuals have, but that doesn't work. We have a little group, very nice little supportive group of a few children. There aren't many. One of the main reasons for raising awareness, which I do on social media a lot with lots of posts and very lovely people like yourselves who help me get the message out further, is that then I get random messages, for example, from a lady who said, my friend's son has just been diagnosed with Angelman syndrome. She was very surprised that I knew what it is, and I know what it is because of Sam. So thank you so much for raising awareness. Please, can you talk to this mum? So that is kind of my number one reason for raising awareness so much, is that when someone comes across it, it won't be a complete unknown anymore. AS is 1 in 15 to 20,000. And the reason why he has it, he's a very rare within AS. His reason for having it makes him 1 in 375,000. So he is very rare. So if you don't raise awareness, nobody is ever going to know about it. Sure. And the more you know about it, the more people come up and they say, hi, oh, thank you for his, sharing his story. My key one is always trust your instinct. If you think something isn't quite right, you get it checked out. And you don't only go with one opinion. You get it checked again or again or again until you get an answer. Because the key thing is early intervention, if possible, is really, really important. And just believe in your child, that your child will achieve, something. They don't have to achieve the same as, a neurotypical child, but he will achieve something. And he achieves by making connections with people, by making lives brighter.
And making people smile.
Making people smile. Yeah.